Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back to another video. It's been a busy week, hasn't it? It's been a really busy week, and it always feels like the start of winter for me when these Saturday, Tuesday weeks roll around, and it feels like we're here now. The dark nights are coming, and trips away to Stoke are ever present. 2 draws. Both away from home, a 1-1 draw against Stoke and a 2-2 draw against Preston North End. 2 very different games. 2 games where I think we'll probably look back and go, like maybe if we had a full strength side, we would have probably won both of those. But, you can always try and find excuses. Actually, in both of those fixtures, Norwich probably weren't quite at their best. The really pleasing thing for me is particularly in that Preston North End game, and thanks to everyone that tuned in for the watch along. It was really good fun actually. I really enjoyed it, and I just enjoyed the game in general. I thought it was just a balmy championship encounter. The pleasing thing with that Tuesday game was even at 2-0 down, and even the way in which that first kind of 10 minutes had panned out, it never felt like we were out of it. And so many times, not just under David Wagner, but under Dean Smith, and Premier League campaigns under Daniel Farker, and I know that was a far tougher level. You would go behind and you were like, okay, that's done. Like, we're not going to be able to find a way. It was different against Preston. We were 2-0 down, and I remember saying to Chris, like, if we can nick a goal here, there's no reason why we can't go on and win this game. And yes, we didn't go on and win it, but we could have done. And that kind of character and that kind of grit that just keeps momentum kicking over and maintains a run even when you're not quite at it is an incredibly important trait to have. And even the best teams in this division will have to grind out results, particularly away from home this season. And that was a really pleasing kind of moment, I thought, that we saw this squad dig deep and go to a place that they hadn't been before and find something. And I was incredibly impressed with Johannes Hoff Thorup's substitutions. He's an incredibly proactive manager, and that really excites me. I love a head coach that can see an issue in a game and change it really quickly and have a real impact on a game. I think that's such a valuable asset to have, and he's got that in bundles. So look, the injuries to Angus, Gunn and Marcelino, Nunez will cost us points, and already have cost us points, as will any team where you lose a couple of your better players. Like, it's far from ideal. We just have to deal with it. And look, I'm not George Long's biggest fan, but it's got to a stage with him where we just have to get behind him. Like, he's been given a contract, and he's been given a contract for a reason. If we know one thing about Ben Napper, it's he's not handing out contracts for the fun of it. There's clearly a reason why George Long's been given a contract, and I think a lot of that is down to the kind of value that they deem he brings in the dressing room. And look, I've said it before on the channel, a second choice goalkeeper in the Championship is not an easy role to fill. It is not an easy sell saying to a goalkeeper, you are coming in to be second choice. There is going to be a certain caliber of keeper that says yes to that, and it's not going to be, you're not picking from the finest talent pool there. So if you can find one that contributes when he's not playing, and George Long clearly does, then we kind of have to settle for that. So look, it's not ideal. I think it wasn't just his fault either on Tuesday night. There were others at fault. It was a scrappy opening 10 minutes. The goal that he conceded against Stoke, that one's up for debate. He probably should save it. But look, it's gone. We've picked up 2 points. The unbeaten run continues. And now we come back to Carrow Road and we face Middlesbrough on Sunday. It's 3 o'clock. I was trying to think the other day, have I ever watched a normal Championship game at 3 o'clock on a Sunday? And I can't think of one. Anyway, that's what it is. It's Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have been a really interesting side this season. A good win in midweek against Sheffield United, 1-0 at home. The previous 2 to that, they lost against Watford and Bristol City. Then the previous 2 to those, that had 2 good wins against Stoke and West Brom. Middlesbrough have been creating chances. They've missed a hell of a lot of chances. If you listen to the Not the Top 20 podcast, there will be you will be well aware that there's huge frustration with Middlesbrough's finishing this season. This is a good side, and a side that was expected to be operating near the top end of this Championship table this season. This will be a really stern test, and we said, didn't we, the kind of late October fixtures leading into November are going to be incredibly telling to find out just where this Norwich side are at. We all got very giddy after the wins against Hull and Watford, and actually those kind of form lines haven't aged particularly well, because we found out that Watford and both Hull are incredibly leaky at the back. It's these away games and it's games at home against teams like Middlesbrough that I think will start to formulate and shape how this side look going forwards. The big concern for me is that lack of presence and kind of the way in which Nunez can orchestrate a football match, and not having him in the side I thought was telling on Tuesday, and when he went off against Stoke on Saturday. We will have needed to have found a way around that. It just felt a little bit scrappy, particularly on that Tuesday evening game against Preston. It felt like we were lacking kind of someone to just take it by the scruff of the neck. Only really in that first 15 minutes. Marcelino Nunez has really stepped into the role, and good on him that we're now suddenly really concerned that he's injured and out for a couple of games, because last season he drifted in and out of fixtures way too often. So this is going to be a really tough test. I thought Sargent was incredibly impressive again, and I think is joint top or second. I think Borscience is top in terms of goals and assists. Josh Sargent is second. He's contributing far more than goals this season. Assists, build-up play. He's dropping a touch deeper. He's been incredibly impressive. I thought Borscience was brilliant once again. Look, it's going to be an interesting one, this, and I'm really excited to kind of see what happens. And that's the key word, excitement. I keep speaking to Norwich fans this season, and I keep saying, where are you expecting us to finish this season? And actually the answer is none of us really know. I think top six would be great and feels possible, but we're all back now at Carrow Road enjoying our football once more, and that's a really nice thing to be able to say. And away from the pitch, everything's going on as well. There was an EGM in the week. Delia Smith and Michael Wynne-Jones have stepped down to become honorary life presidents after 28 years as directors of Norwich City. For literally my entire life, I've known no different. And Delia Smith and Michael Wynne-Jones, although had their downfalls in terms of shortcomings when it came to financial kind of power, couldn't have led this football club any better. I've been lucky enough to meet them both on a couple of occasions, and they are genuinely lovely people who always put the football club first, and actually navigated us incredibly well through just a huge shift in terms of the footballing landscape over what's been basically 30 years for those guys. They've saved the football club. They've steered this ship as brilliant custodians very well. We had sustained Premier League football during that period, and I think punched well above our weight. Now we've got a really exciting chapter ahead with Mark Atanasio and Norfolk Holdings Group, and the shortcomings that we had with Delia and Michael in terms of financial power. One would hope that Mark Atanasio can provide a little bit more influence and impetus when it comes to that. So I'm really excited about the future, but it has to be said, the sheer influence that Delia Smith and Michael had on not only just this football club, but English football in general. She was a powerful woman leading a football club very well, with grace, with decorum, and always put the football club ahead of her. And not many owners up and down the kind of 92 clubs operating in the Football League and the Premier League can say that. And I think that's really, really impressive. And I will miss them dearly. They're not dead. They're still going to be at Carrow Road, and I'm still enjoying the football, and hopefully can enjoy some form of rest as well. But look, one chapter closes, another opens. Really excited to see the future under Mark Atanasio. And of course, there'll be a new person in the dugout over the next few weeks as well, and that's Jack Wilshere. Chris has filmed a video with Robbie from AFTV. I've filmed a video on that as well, so those videos are on the channel. Definitely give them a watch. But yeah, lots of exciting things going on at the football club at the moment. I would love to hear your thoughts about this weekend's game against Borough down in the comments section below. How are we going to deal without Angus, Gunn, and without Marcelino, Nunez? Will we cope with George Long and whoever replaces Nunez? Or is this going to be a struggle? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.